Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of MeteoMark Weather. It's great to have you here with me today. We're watching a major winter storm through parts of the plains, Ohio Valley, through the mid-Atlantic, parts of the Appalachians. We'll get into all the details and see who could see the heaviest snow and ice accumulations. And the polar vortex keeping a massive Arctic blast going from central parts of North America all the way through eastern parts of North America as we continue through this month. We'll see which areas could see the biggest cold air outbreaks. And we'll take a look at your tropical update across much of the Caribbean, Central America, all the Caribbean islands. How much rainfall could we be looking at as we continue with this unprecedented tropical moisture for this time of year? And as we head through the 9th, 10th, and the 11th of later this week into next weekend, we could be looking at a major southern winter storm stretching to the east coast, in which the European model shows a major blizzard across parts of the Northeast and New England. Let's get into it. So starting off with our future radar here, the NAM 3 kilometer, you can see where the snow is going to be falling there in the blue. The ice here, look at the ice going on through parts of central southern Missouri, Illinois, and then as we head through the rest of your Sunday, this starts to expand into parts of the Ohio Valley, the Appalachians here. Heavy ice just to the south. It's going to be in a narrower band, thankfully. We're going to see more snow than ice out of this, but those areas that do see the ice, power outages, treacherous travel. And look at as we head through 4 a.m. on Monday, we really start to expand the snow from central southern Ohio into, look at the cutoff here, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Philadelphia. You got this dry air to the north, so it's got to overcome this dry air. But look at down into parts of Virginia here, northern Kentucky. We're getting that ice. And look at Washington, D.C. You actually could stay all snow during this event. Warning criteria looks a good bet. Now, as we head through noon on Monday, you can see what's happening. We have the backside of the storm, so we're going to get that banding here from Columbus, Cincinnati, southward here. Pittsburgh, it's going to be close for you. Harrisburg, you'll get some banding on the northern side as well. Now, look at southern New Jersey, parts of Delmarva, Washington, D.C., Dover over here. It's going to be close, but you're going to continue to see that warning criteria snow. New York City, you could see a burst of snow up towards Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area, southern Catskills, southern Hudson Valley, but I don't think you're going to see too much up here, mostly an inch or less. And then look at as we head through 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m., and then 10 p.m. Look at this. We're still getting some heavy snow through parts of the Capital District, through the Delmarva and southern New Jersey area, even just south of Harrisburg. So that's going to be really interesting as this system just slides off the East Coast. Now look at, I wanted to show you, you are going to get some lake-enhanced action through parts of Ohio. It's going to be out of the Northeast, though, a direction you're not used to, but it's not going to amount to much. I'll get over those lake effect snow amounts momentarily, but you do get a little bit of a trough on the backside, kicking in some lake enhanced as we head through the 7th here on into Tuesday. And quickly flipping over to the HRRR Future Radar, our other mesoscale model, it does have the snow going further to the north. Here's 5 a.m. on Monday. So I wanted to throw this one out. I'll get into snowfall amounts momentarily here, but look at this. This actually has the snow breaking out all the way up to the northern counties of Pennsylvania here. So this is a trend to watch. This is pretty much the only model showing this, though. So parts of central Ohio through central Pennsylvania, this model has, solid advisory on southward warning criteria amounts as we cruise right on through the 6th into the 7th. Pretty similar situation, though, as the system pulls off the area right around Delmarva and Virginia area. So flipping over to our GFS model, our first synoptic model, and then I'll show you the European. Here it is. We're pivoting towards the northeast here through Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio as we head through 7 p.m. on Sunday evening. Snow break, it's a fast mover. I kind of got to slow this down just a little bit here. Here's 1 a.m. on Monday morning. So, yeah, there could be some school cancellations and stuff through much of this area. We're really billowing the snow towards Washington, D.C. here. Heavy banded snow action just on the northern side. It's just kind of exciting for many of you that haven't seen this kind of snow in a while, this warning criteria snow, as we head through 7 a.m. And then look at this, by 7 p.m., let's just back that up just a hair. So this is 7 a.m., there's 4 p.m., so we're still getting snow here through parts of Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Delmarva region, and then that slides off the coast right around 10 p.m., Get a little bit of lake enhancement up here in the northeast, not much. So as we look ahead to our next system, what do we have going on here? This is that southern stream branch system I've been talking about that's been getting lots of headlines right around the 9th. Cold air to the north here. We do have tremendous tropical moisture coming off the Gulf here. So there's going to be an area of low pressure developing. Whether it pulls cold air all the way to the Gulf Coast enough for snow remains to be seen. This run of the GFS has snow up through Dallas, Fort Worth area, up to Little Rock. So we'll have to keep an eye on this, but look at this. As we head through the 10th, it's going to be really close for some of these big cities across parts of the deep south here. So we'll watch it here. We could be looking at a winter storm through parts of the deep south and mid-south here. And look at how it pivots come the 11th. We could be looking at some heavy snow around Virginia Beach, Charlotte, Raleigh. Raleigh, you'll be right on the borderline, it looks like, between the ice and the snow. Now, this run has it sliding off to the east, and you can see we have a piece of energy up through the Great Lakes. It doesn't fully phase with it here on this run of the GFS, but I'll show you on the European momentarily. We could be looking at a major blizzard according to the latest run of the Euro. Now, this energy kind of hangs out across the eastern part of the Great Lakes into parts of the northeast, and it doesn't phase with the southern stream until well off the coast. So this is the GFS on the middle part of January, kind of pushing off the coast just like that. And longer term, we have a lot of clippers coming out of the northwest, so this cold air should continue. So looking at our European model here with our big winter storm. Here we go. As we have stretched through 10 p.m. on Sunday, you can see the area of low pressure coming in a little bit further to the south on this run, propagating across the Tennessee River Valley here, with moisture further north across Ohio. So as we kick this to the east coast, you can see what's going to be happening as we head through Monday. Yeah, we got this area of precipitation to the north. That is where most of the frozen precipitation will be occurring, and this slides just off the coastline here, with very little fanfare in the northeast. Now, looking ahead, this is what I wanted to show you. Here's our southern stream branch system on the 9th. So this could be getting very interesting across northern and eastern Texas. Some of this could be falling as frozen precipitation. There's a tremendous amount of tropical moisture tapping into this system. As we head through the 10th, we could be looking at some very strong thunderstorms just along the Gulf Coast. So this is something we got to watch. And northward into the cold air, that's where we could be looking at the heavy snow and ice. Stretching eastward here through the 10th, you can see how far north this moisture goes into this area of high pressure right over New York and Pennsylvania. So that's something we're going to have to keep a very close watch on. This is the system we're watching for some potential East Coast action. Now, of course, we lose most of our precipitation feed on the Euro after hour 144 on this product, but I wanted to show you this. Look at this 980 millibar low. This is next weekend, the 11th. If this were to verify, we would see a crippling blizzard just along the coast and inland here. This would be tremendous. 972 millibars just off the coast of Rhode Island and Cape Cod. This is a development we're going to have to keep an eye on. Yes, this is the only model right now that has this blasting up. The latest run of the GFS backed off on this, but the fact that the European is showing this 7 days out, this is pretty significant. So let's take a look at snowfall amounts here on the European model. There it is from Kansas all the way to the mid-Atlantic here. The Euro has shifted a little bit further to the south on this run. So you can see that puts the heaviest snow in a swath of like 7 to 14 inches here, particularly from Kansas, Missouri, southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, northern Kentucky here, West Virginia, northern Virginia, and through the Delmarva area. So that shifts the heaviest just south of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border here. But still, I think you're going to see some good advisory, even some warning criteria. Would not be surprised if this shifts a little bit further to the north again. And heading out longer term on this run of the European, this is where I'm a little bit concerned. Look what's going on. This is right around the next weekend, right around the 11th and the 12th. You can see up here into the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. This is where we could be seeing a major snowstorm. So stay tuned. It's bouncing back and forth here, but if this does verify, some areas might be seeing a blizzard out of this, 1 to 2 plus feet here, maybe 3 feet in some areas. And heading over to the GFS here, look at this. Yeah, GFS is a little bit less than the European model. Pretty much further to the south as well on this run. So we'll see if these come a little bit further to the north, but that trend has been further south. So, stretching a 6 to 10 inch band here, especially in the purples and the darker purples here from Kansas all the way over to northern, right through DC. That's right through the central part here. So areas that haven't seen snow in a very long time. And as we head further out here on the GFS is not showing anything, just a little bit of snow here for parts of the mid-Atlantic. Nothing for the Northeast. So the Euro is on board with a big blizzard. And then look at this, another Clipper type system adding more amounts to the eastern Great Lakes here by the 17th. All right, so the GFS here, the Ohio Valley area. I wanted to show you these amounts. Let's get that out of the way there. So as we head through eastern Kansas, central Missouri, all the way through southern Ohio, West Virginia, this is the GFS, 6 to 10 inches on average. Pittsburgh, wow, it's so close. There's a sharp cutoff to the north here, so don't be surprised if you're just on the northern edge of this to have widely varying snowfall amounts from less than an inch to advisory and then warning within like a 30 to 40 mile area. And as we continue through time, there's another snowstorm come the 11th, 12th, heading on into parts of the mid-Atlantic. But look at this. It actually stretches across the deep south here as well from northeast Texas all the way through Tennessee and parts of North Carolina. Something to watch. And as we head right over to the European run, let's take this longer term. So here it is. If we just take a look at the latest one, let's look at that. Here it is. It's a little bit further to the south. Gosh, this doesn't even have Pittsburgh getting more than 2 inches, but here it is across southern Ohio, all the way through northern Virginia. That is pushed to the south. And there's that snowstorm across parts of Texas. We'll take a closer look at that momentarily as well. I want to show you that because that is very, very interesting. And then let's just go to the longer range Euro here on the previous. There we go. Look at that. That's adding more snowfall as we head through the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So you can see that's moving out of Texas and Arkansas all the way through parts of the deep south here. It is going to be interesting and adding more snow on top of the Ohio River Valley into the Appalachians as well. So let's head up into the mid-Atlantic here on our latest. Let's see, there's the latest GFS model. Yeah, we're getting cranking here with the snowfall amounts. 6 inches, not 6 to 9 inches on average through parts of the mid-Atlantic here. Look at this, down through Richmond, all the way to DC, Delmarva area. Look at, we've really backed off here on the GFS, the latest one. Harrisburg. It's going to be really close, though. I caution you because we're going to have a sharp cutoff to the north. And then another storm heading on into the 11th and 12th. So we'll watch for additional snowfall accumulations through the mid-Atlantic. This is on top of what this storm later Sunday and Monday is going to drop. So keep that in mind. And then another system kind of pushing through the Ohio Valley and eastern Great Lakes as we head through the 18th. And here we go. The latest GFS I wanted to show you. Here it is. It's actually showing up on the latest 12Z GFS here through parts of Texas and Arkansas. Pretty much agreeing with the Euro, a little bit lesser amounts, but you get the idea. We could be looking at a southern snowstorm here as we head on into the 9th, 10th, and the 11th. All right, so into the northeast here, our latest GFS. Most of this staying south of Interstate 80 as we head on Sunday night, and Monday here. Look at the sharp cutoffs. It's going to be the Appalachians, Ohio Valley, and into the mid-Atlantic that get most. Look at this. We're getting nothing. Now, this is all lake effect up here through Cleveland, Erie, Buffalo, Syracuse. Yeah, these favored snowbelt areas, a couple inches, and then Syracuse is the bullseye, right around 7 to 10 inches here. And as we head throughout the week, you can see we add additional snowfall accumulations. Much of this, with some synoptic and some lake enhanced. But it looks like the lake enhanced and lake effect will kind of be on the decline a little bit, at least on the GFS model. Until we get into next Saturday, Sunday, we add a little bit of snowfall on top here. Now let's look at the latest European run here. Yeah, very sharp cutoff here, but we're still going to see a couple inches on the northern side here. It's going to be very interesting. So those of you in southern Pennsylvania, central and southern Ohio, New Jersey, look at this. Very sharp cutoff to the north. Southern New Jersey, you could be into warning criteria. So that's the very sharp gradient we're talking about here. Harrisburg, I still think you're going to see advisory criteria amounts very close to low-end warning just to your south, so watch out. This could wobble a little bit. Lake effect continuing up here into parts of Syracuse and Erie, Pennsylvania as well. These areas up here in the Tug Hill really getting hammered as we head throughout the week. That's actually piling up mid to late week. Kind of backed off a little bit through northeast Ohio into northwest Pennsylvania. Still up to 4 inches likely, but there it is as we head through Saturday, the 11th. And let's take a look. We can go off with our longer range Euro. This is what I wanted to show you. If this verifies next weekend, look at this. This is a crazy amount of snow. This would really make up, at least put a dent in the snow deficit. So I'll continue to watch it here. We have through this week to watch this. But if this does verify, we could be looking at 1 to 2 feet widespread through parts of the Northeast corridor here into New England. And here's our lake effect snow amounts here. I wanted to go over this with you. Actually, I'm showing you also our synoptic snow pattern. This does take us through late Tuesday night here. So here we go. This latest NAM 3 kilometers pretty much agreeing with the Euro and the GFS with a little bit further south jaunt here through southern Ohio, northern West Virginia, northern Virginia, through much of Maryland, Delmarva Peninsula, and extreme southern New Jersey. So, yeah, for you snow lovers in central Ohio, central Pennsylvania, central New Jersey, northward, unfortunately, the models have come a little bit further to the south. We also have a lot of dry air coming in from the north, so that's helping to squelch that snowfall. Now, lake effect amounts, you can see just light here through Cleveland and Erie, about an inch or two through the next 24 to 36 hours. But look at here into the Tug Hill area. This is where I think just north of Syracuse, you could pick up close to 8 to 14 inches of snow. And let's take a look at the HRRR model. Now, this model is very interesting because this is a little bit further to the north. This is why I wanted to show you this solution, because it is possible, it's still possible that this storm could outperform even on the northern edge. That's a sharp cutoff to the north. Still think Pittsburgh area gets into that advisory, as well as Harrisburg, Philadelphia. But this would promote advisory further to the north towards Interstate 80. So that's something to watch here. I still think, many areas are going to get a lot of snow out of this. So the warnings have expanded to many areas. Look at northern Virginia, West Virginia, Delmarva area. Look at this, 14 inches. So southern Ohio as well, 8 to 14 inches. So this is some exciting news for some people that have been waiting for snow for a couple of years. And then on the northern edge, of course, we get the lake effect, Syracuse area, 3 to 6 inches, northward even higher. Cleveland, Erie, Buffalo are kind of shutting it down a little bit here, an inch or two on average. All right, so let's take a look where the ice is going to fall. Our latest product of the NAM 3 kilometer, you can see right through southeastern part of Kansas, southern Missouri, all the way through much of Kentucky, parts of Virginia and West Virginia here. This is where we're going to be looking. Of course, this model, most models overdo the ice amounts, but I wanted to show you where it's going to be falling. Let's zoom in. So stretching through the Ohio Valley here, this is where I think ice amounts could average right around a half inch on average here. I know some of these have over an inch, which is crazy. Would not be surprised if some areas get over an inch of ice, but that's not going to be widespread. You get the idea here. These areas could see major power outages and treacherous travel. And stretching over to the mid-Atlantic, here it is, ice accumulations more realistically across parts of central and southern Virginia here, about a quarter to a half an inch on average, and there is those really heavy ice accumulations through parts of Kentucky and West Virginia. I think most of Ohio, with the very small sliver of southern Ohio here getting into some ice. Liquid equivalent precipitation here on our latest run. Here's the GFS getting all the way through. So let's just take this week. From the Gulf Coast, eastern Texas, all the way up to the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic. A lot of this on the northern branch here, falling as snowfall and ice. So this is crazy that we're going to be getting into some of these heavier amounts here towards 2 inches in some areas. And then as we head longer term, you can see what's going to be happening. A lot of tropical moisture gets fed into this system through the 9th and the 11th, possibly as far north as the Ohio Valley into parts of the eastern Great Lakes. And here we go, flipping over to the latest European model just for this entire week. You can see what's going on here. Lots of moisture along the Gulf Coast. That gets fed up into parts of the Ohio Valley, Mississippi River Valley, into the Mid-Atlantic. That's where you'll be seeing upwards of an inch or two On average, about an inch to inch and a half. A lot of this frozen on the northern side, so that equating to about 6 to 12 inches of snow. All right, so taking a look at the upper air pattern. Here on the European model, you can see that storm pushing out of the northeast, another one replacing it here on Monday. That's our system from the Mississippi and Ohio River Valley. So we got these troughs kicking in. Want to make note, there it is. That's signifying the negative NAO index setting up massive ridge here from the eastern Gulf of Alaska to the Pacific Northwest. That is promoting East Coast troughiness. Does this continue? It looks like it does. Look at that trough. That is with our late week system. We'll have to watch that. And another one for next weekend. This could be the big one potentially for the Northeast if this run of the European verifies. So here it is. As we just continue through time, we do start to see evidence of ridging in the east after mid-January. So we're going to have to watch out for this, but it may be short-lived as we get some of this troughiness kicking in from central North America. And we still have negative NAO index here and a massive ridge developing here in the Gulf of Alaska, signifying that we could see return later in January to troughiness in the east. Flipping over to the GFS model, look at this. Yeah, as we head through the late week here, there's that troughiness across the east, another trough kicking through. The GFS has this one next weekend, more progressive. So you kind of get the gist here. There's that northern stream branch energy. There's the southern stream. They're not really coming together on the GFS like they are on the Euro, but we have about this week to watch it. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So stay tuned for that. As we head on into the 15th into the 16th, another trough gets set up across the east. Now, what's the GFS do right around the time of the Euro? One big difference between the Euro and the GFS is the GFS keeps that troughiness and trough. Look at that massive ridge up here into Alaska and Greenland. So that is the difference between the two models. We'll have to see which one wins out here. And looking at the NAO index, we are really right around -1, and we're just going to meander right around -1, -0.5 through the middle to latter part of January. So that's going to keep us in that eastern cold and potential for snowstorm action, especially from the deep south to the east coast. And our latest MJO index here, you can see we are cruising right through phases 7 through 8 here over the next couple weeks into phase 1. So these are the areas you actually want to see for eastern North America cold, that polar vortex Arctic blast, along with that snowstorm action, especially along the east coast of North America. All right, so let's take a look at the Caribbean here. I do not want to leave you guys out. I'm keeping my tropical updates going all year now. Look at this. Central America through January 7th. Look at this tropical moisture just hanging out around Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Jamaica, you're clearing out here. Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and the Lesser Antilles, you're still getting a few scattered showers. But thankfully, they won't amount to too much here. Look at the sharp front here to the north, though. It's right through parts of the Yucatan Peninsula up through the Bahamas. It did scour out through Florida through mid-week here. And then look at this through the 9th and the 10th. We start to focus the moisture once again as this frontal boundary does make it through parts of Honduras. Look at the moisture to the southeast of it and along it. It just continues as we continue through the 10th. And let's continue through the 12th, the 13th, into the 14th. We do have an area of low pressure kicking off of Colombia here in South America, and that's going to be pushing moisture towards the northwest here, so we'll continue to watch it. Of course, we have a northern stream system up here across the Gulf. This is not tropical in nature, so we don't have to worry about any tropical entities here, thankfully, this time of year. But as we head through the 14th, the 15th, into the 16th, you can kind of see what's going on. We're going to see another frontal boundary drop here just to the north of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Honduras, these areas. We'll watch it here because we could see increased moisture across the Caribbean during this time. But as that frontal boundary sinks to the south, look at this up here off of Florida. This is a northern stream branch system coming off, so this is not tropical. But you start to see the Caribbean here starts to lighten up with moisture. We only have a few scattered showers by this point, and we may be looking at some drier times here. Flipping over to the European model here, you can see across the southern Caribbean, we're just continuing with some shower action as we head through Monday into Tuesday here. Thankfully, look at across the northern Caribbean, except the northeastern Caribbean. You're looking at mostly clear through Jamaica here. So this is looking good, the Cayman Islands. As we head through the Tuesday into Wednesday and on into Thursday and Friday, you can get the idea of what's going on. We do have some scattered showers from Puerto Rico down through Trinidad, Tobago. There's that area of low pressure I was talking about. This is going to be slowly pushing to the west-northwest here. So we're going to start to see some tropical moisture kicking to the northwest. And as we go out here in time, you can see, especially along the eastern coast of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and the northern coast of Honduras and the east coast of Belize here, we're going to be looking at that return moisture flow on east-northeast winds around this area of high pressure. So we're going to be watching for increased moisture as we head through the middle of the month. So for the Western Caribbean here, Central America, we'll just take this week on the European model. Tremendous amounts of rain falling through Costa Rica here, southeastern Nicaragua, also southern Belize and the northern coast of Honduras. This is where we could be seeing on average of about 70, 80, upwards of 100 centimeters, I should say millimeters, of rainfall here. So that's getting you up towards 2.5, 3.5 inches of rain. Costa Rica down here, wow, in excess of 2 to 250 millimeters. That'll get you up towards, the danger zone here. We're heading right up towards, say, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. Now, northeastern Jamaica, right around Portland Parish, surrounding parishes, you could see upwards of 30, 40 millimeters here. But look at much of central and western southern Jamaica getting absolutely nothing. Same of the island of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico here as well. So for the Western Caribbean here, Central America, we'll just take this week on the European model. Tremendous amounts of rain falling through Costa Rica here, southeastern Nicaragua, also southern Belize and the northern coast of Honduras. This is where we could be seeing on average of about 70, 80, upwards of 100 centimeters, I should say millimeters, of rainfall here. So that's getting you up towards 2.5, 3.5 inches of rain. Costa Rica down here, wow, in excess of 2 to 250 millimeters. That'll get you up towards, the danger zone here. We're heading right up towards, say, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. Now, northeastern Jamaica, right around Portland Parish, surrounding parishes, you could see upwards of 30, 40 millimeters here. But look at much of central and western southern Jamaica getting absolutely nothing. Same of the island of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico here as well. And heading to the Eastern Caribbean here, look what is going on. We have a little bit of a tropical entity here. It's not much of anything, barely a wave, but that moves through. If we just back this up, it's actually middle to later part of this week. It moves through the central and southern Lesser Antilles, all the way through Trinidad, Tobago here, northward to Grenada, St. Vincent area. This is where we could see 50 to as much as 90 millimeters of rainfall, getting you up towards 1.5 inches, 2 inches on average. Puerto Rico, it's mainly the northern coast through Dominican Republic here through the northern Virgin Islands. That's where you could see upwards of 40, maybe 50 millimeters, getting right around 3/4 to 1 inch on average. And flipping over to the European model just for this week, you can see there is that little tropical wave moving through the central and southern Lesser Antilles, getting you up towards 40 to 50 millimeters on average, right around 3/4 to 1 inch. Same with Puerto Rico and Eastern Dominican Republic here. So for our Canadian weather outlook here, let's take a look at our winter overlay. It's a quiet start with the exception for Newfoundland, Canadian Maritimes over here, and the West Coast. Look at this Big 1038 millibar high as we head through Tuesday here. We got some snow showers through parts of Ontario and Quebec. That's going to continue, but this low is going to really get stuck over here as we have, high pressure up through parts of Greenland and northeastern Canada. This system is going to get bogged down. 956 millibar low, blasting the Canadian Maritimes with some blizzard conditions. West coast of British Columbia continuing to get pummeled with some Pacific action systems here. And then as we head through the rest of the weekend and next weekend, we kind of get some snow shower action around Ottawa, kind of quieting things on both coasts here. Now let's head through the middle of the month and see if we have anything interesting to talk about. No, it actually gets really quiet with the exception for the West Coast here where we really start to kick in some moisture. Now, we will have some Alberta Clipper action here through parts of southern Ontario, Quebec, towards New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, but it will be light in nature here. As we head through the 16th, the 17th, into the 18th, yeah, it's just looking very clear and very cold across much of Canada. Canadian snowfall amounts here, look at this. Yeah, it's the West Coast and the eastern areas, Quebec, areas. Look at Nova Scotia, not really getting much until the middle to latter part of the month here. But Newfoundland, yeah, you're hitting the jackpot along with British Columbia northwestward here. So, yeah, averaging out Ontario and Quebec, you're averaging about 10 to 20 centimeters on average here. It'll get you a little bit of snow, but up here into the Canadian Maritimes, that's where you're going to see more in excess of 30 centimeters. West Coast, obviously the mountains getting in excess of 70 centimeters here or more. As we head with total liquid equivalent precipitation here, yeah, the West Coast and East Coast getting the most, almost practically nothing here. Let's get that out of the way. Central provinces, very little, but the East and West, yeah, this is where you're going to see an excess of 70, 100 millimeters here. Get you up towards 2.5, 3.5 inches. Look at the West Coast here. That's where we're getting 200, 300 millimeters, up towards 5 to 8 inches really easily. As we head over to the European model for Canada, very similar picture here. And let's crank out those European snowfall amounts. This just takes us through the 11th. So this week, very interesting. West Coast, and there's the Canadian Maritimes. But look at Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, kind of a snow hole here. Some snow, maybe as far south as Toronto here. Much of Quebec, getting average of about 10 to 15 centimeters. So taking a look at the Western Pacific here, you can see lots of northern stream action here in Japan. You got all that snow and some rain towards the coast. That's just going to continue with your cold season. One thing to note, the Philippines are going to be looking at some very heavy rain this week. We got a tropical wave action here. We'll have to watch it for some potential development, although it looks like it's going to be on the southern end of a front here, so there will be some wind shear to keep it in check. But look at this. As we head in time, we're going to be looking at a lot of tropical wave action here into southern Philippines through the 13th, into the 14th, through the 16th here. And then look at this. That frontal boundary slides to the south, and you may actually get some dry times here from Southeast Asia, Southern Asia, all the way through the Philippines and Taiwan. So for Western Pacific rainfall here on our European model, the Philippines through this week, 100 to 200 millimeters easily. Now, as we flip over to the GFS model, we can go a little bit longer term here. Yeah, Vietnam, you're going to get in a little bit on the act, but the big story is tropical moisture continuing across the Philippines here, upwards of 250 to 350 millimeters. That's getting you up towards 6 to 10 inches. And before we continue with more weather coverage, check out these amazing, awesome maps from my affiliate here. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. All right, so temperature-wise here as we head throughout the rest of the week, it is going to be winter-like. Look at those 30s all the way down into the deep south, still holding on to some 50s and 60s through the Carolinas. Look at Florida is the only warm spot, and the desert southwest here. As we head into Tuesday, look at this. The cold air is just blasting single digits across the plains. That's going to be heading south and east as we head throughout the week. Look at all these 20s across the Ohio Valley into the northeast, and that is just going to solidify through Wednesday, January 8th here. Look at all the way down into southern Texas, barely hitting 40 degrees into Thursday. Look at this cold air pivoting back to the east here. Do we see any warming trend? Well, there's going to be in the plains here as we head on into Friday, January 10th. You can see the cold air still entrenched here across the Midwest, Great Lakes, and into the interior Northeast. As we head into Saturday, January 11th, we have plenty of cold air hanging out here across the east and northeast. Extended forecast for our hometown viewers, Binghamton, Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. Take a look at this. As we head through Monday through Friday here, it's just going to be cold pretty much every day. There is a chance of snow showers pretty much every day, with some of that lake effect. We won't be getting that system on Monday. That's going to stay well to our south. So each day, it's like a less than an inch of accumulation. But look at those highs, lower 20s on average, with mid-teens for lows.